I don't plan on coming out for the anthem going forward until I feel I feel better about the direction of our country.
This is San Francisco Giants manager Gabe Kapler.
So that'll be the step. I don't expect it to move the needle necessarily. It's just something that I feel strongly enough about to take that step.
In the wake of the Uvalde, Texas shooting where 19 school children were killed along with 2 teachers via the legal purchase of lax gun laws, Kapler decided to conduct a silent protest. He is, like many, disappointed with where we are in this country where kids can't even attend school without fear.
If you lock down where the door opens towards you, go to Amazon, and for $8 to $15 you can buy one of these hotel door keys. I'll show you how it works. So while the door is still open, this inserts right here. The door closes onto it, and then you take the peg, run it through the triangle that is closest to the door, and push down, and you cannot open that door. It is very secure. If you walk down into a room where the door opens away from you, then grab a chair, thread the leg of the chair in through the door handle, and then stand on the wall side and full body weight hold the chair. The leverage of the chair makes this way stronger than you think. I've tried this with a whole bunch of different people, even people who are bigger than me, and I can still keep them from opening the door using this method.
Last I checked, that video had more than 6 million views. And it just seems odd to me that teachers are on here making self-help videos to keep your child safe, while politicians, the people you voted for, just create fake boogeymen.
And realistically, who could blame Kapler? Because of the money Republican politicians take in legalized bribery, these are the grave conditions that school children and teachers and administrators must suffer from. Thus, Gabe Kapler, a 12-year MLB vet and World Series champion, gave his 2 cents. In a blog post on caplifestyle.com, he wrote the following. The day 19 children and 2 teachers were murdered, we held a moment of silence at sporting events around the country. Then we played the national anthem, and we went on with our lives. Players, staff, and fans stood for the moment of silence, grieving the lives lost, and then we, myself included, continued to stand, proudly proclaiming ourselves the land of the free and the home of the brave. We didn't stop to reflect on whether we are actually free and brave. After this horrific event, we just stood at attention. We elect our politicians to represent our interests. Immediately following the shooting, we were told we needed locked doors and armed teachers. We were given thoughts and prayers. We were told it could have been worse, and we just need love. Quick side note, here are the Republican politicians who have taken the most money from the National Rifle Association. Let me also be clear, this is just one organization. There are plenty more that give donations to lawmakers in order to continue the accessibility and purchase of firearms to remain as easy as possible. This is the point Kapler is making. I'm often struck before our games by the lack of delivery of the promise of what our national anthem represents. We stand in honor of a country where we elect representatives to serve us, to thoughtfully consider and enact legislation that protects the interests of all the people in this country, and to move this country forward towards the vision of the shining city on the hill. Before we continue with Kapler's post, Chicago White Sox manager Tony La Russa, at 77 years old, disagreed with Kapler's stance. I think he's exactly right to be concerned with what's happening in our country, La Russa said per ESPN. He's right there. Where I disagree is the flag and the anthem are not appropriate places to try to voice your objections. And this, my friends, is the predominantly old school mentality of nationalism, no matter the atrocities. And when I was writing this piece, I made a list that I want to read from so I don't miss any of it. And if I did, I would love for you to tell me what I've missed in the comments below. Because no matter what, you must, as Jerry Jones said, toe the line, follow suit, and as some have said, shut up and dribble, no matter the atrocities. Here we go. Racism, the bigotry, xenophobia, women's rights, voting rights, the largest military budget in the world, school shootings, domestic terrorism, white supremacy, just making lynching a hate crime in the year 2020 22. Odd. Lack of a plan for climate change. In doing so, the continued drilling and, of course, the empowerment of fossil fuel companies. Not raising the minimum wage. We should be at like $25 or $30, maybe $35 in 2022. Oligarchs taking over our society. Politicians being used. Slush funds. Wall Street. The promotion of conspiracy theories by lawmakers. And, the usual, do not go against the flag. Even if you come from a military family and you have a veteran in your family who was sent to die in a war that didn't make sense, or they came back home and they're living on the streets, or when they came back home, they were not given the proper treatment that they need. But no matter what, toe the line. Every time I place my hand over my heart and remove my hat, I'm participating in a self-congratulatory glorification of the only country where these mass shootings take place. My brain said drop to a knee. My body didn't listen. I wanted to walk back inside. Instead, I froze. I felt like a coward. I am not okay with the state of this country. I wish I hadn't let my discomfort compromise my integrity. I wish that I could have demonstrated what I learned from my dad, that when you're dissatisfied with your country, you let it be known through protest. The home of the brave should encourage this. It should be noted Kapler paused his protest for Memorial Day, which says a lot in and of itself. Lest we forget, author and writer Dave Zirin wrote the following. Gabe Kapler may not protest during the anthem on Memorial Day. That's his right to figure out how he wants to do this. But it's a reminder that it was quite brave for Kaepernick to go ahead with first regular season anthem protests on September 11th, 2016, the 15th anniversary. Respect that Kapler wants to take it day by day, but on days like Memorial Day, it's actually more important to protest because it says that you don't think soldiers gave their lives so we can have a country rich in child massacres. How we protest is as important as when we protest is as important as why we protest. This country is off the rails, and every patriotic holiday is fair game until we start seeing some change. Make dissent visible and attractive. The urgency is real and doesn't take a day off. This is a sentiment I completely agree with. Lastly, as we conclude, and I truly believe this, the reason we are so critical is because we want to see progress for everybody. This is not necessarily a left versus right thing, at least I don't believe it should be. I actually think the most patriotic people are critical because we know without those critiques throughout time, through the women's movement to vote, through the civil rights movement, and everything else that has occurred, through protest, through good trouble, we would not have any of those changes of where we are today without those folks sacrificing and showing their patriotism. It is not patriotic to just stand there and go along with everything just because an American politician says so. It is patriotic to critique the problem at hand and strive for a better future.